building. We have a short but ambitious program with several speakers, so please pay attention. And before we get started, please stand for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular the most were singing, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good afternoon again. I'm Chuck Lafada, Superintendent. While we've been in the building since September 9th, we're working with contractors every day. And we're here today to dedicate the building because we now have 100% occupancy and we're using every facet of this building. Many of you have been through it. Students, you're in it, you're living it every day. And it truly is an amazing place. All the people on the floor have had something to do with building this building or the planning of the building, or in most cases, both. So I'm going to go through a long list of introductions so I can adequately recognize the people in attendance here today. Hi, from the Reading Board of Education, Donna Engel, Board Member, Beth Warnery, Board Member, Jim Perdue, Board Member. From the City of Reading, Mayor Bo Bemis, Todd Owens, Fire Chief, Pat Ross. From the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission, Nathan Jones, Project Manager, Sue Meyer, Communications. From VSWC Architects, Earl Crossman, Owner, Architect, Jim Voorhees, Architect, Evan Kelsey, Architect, Katie Davidson, Director of Interior Design, Ashley Hussein. From Shook Touchstone, Nate Neuenschwander. Hope I did that right, Nate. He is the President and CEO. Pete McCullough, he's our Project Manager. Brandon Ponchak, who's on site daily. RBC Capital Markets, Kent Casher, Managing Director. Current administration of the schools, Damon Davis, Reading Middle, Susan Fraley, Reading Elementary, Nick Lunsford, Dean of Students, Becky Johnson, Director of Student Services, Daniel Kist, Elementary Principal, Colette Lewis, Treasurer, John Payne, Athletic Director, Dennis Ramsey, High School Principal. Former board members, Lisa Bemis, Vicki Solomon, former Treasurer, Carrie Furness. And then, of course, our Reading Choir and our Reading Band will participate. Before I introduce the speakers today, I can say I've lived this project for a long time, since high school principal and now superintendent. And it's been frustrating and exciting and rewarding, and all those emotions every day. Every day I'm on the phone with Pete, Brandon, Nate sometimes, Nathan, the architects, Evan, Katie, with furniture issues, which, by the way, still got some, Katie, thanks. Earl and Jim, but it's been awesome. It's been an awesome experience for me, and I hope for them, because it's something I've never done before and will never do again. But I'm proud to be in this building because of what it means to you, the students and teachers, and more importantly, to the Reading community. So with that, I'd like to introduce our co-owner from the OFCC, Nathan Jones, Project Manager.
Good afternoon. Again, my name is Nathan Jones. I'm the Project Manager for the OFCC, Ohio Facilities Construction Commission. I want to offer my congratulations on the dedication of this very nice 21st century facility, Reading Community K-12. This ceremony represents an important milestone for the district and the community. and I'm honored to be a part of it today in the celebration dedication. This facility will be a quality and is a quality educational environment and serves the community and should serve the community for many years to come. I am pleased to take a moment to recognize not only the district board and administration, which I appreciate an awful lot for all that we had to go through in getting the project to where it is now, but also the project architects, BSWC, our contractor, Shook Touchtone, and also one other consultant that was part of the project team, which is Four Seasons commissioning agent. They formed the team that was assembled to design the building and oversee its construction. And I think we've done a fairly decent job up to date. We still have a little ways to go, but it will get completed. OFCC is a partner with Reading Community City Schools District, and we're working together to be a healthy, accessible, secure 21st century technology-rich facility that will be hopefully an asset in the community for generations to come. I thank the superintendent, Chuck Lafada, and his team, plus the school board and their work, and also the legislators that passed this initially to give us the funding for the project. Most importantly, I thank the community for your support, your patience for this project, which has made it possible. Thank you.
We have Nate Graham, he's a senior. Senior class is in here today, and I just want to say, seniors have a unique experience and a neat story to tell, because they were here when Reading High School was the old Reading High School, right on this site. They saw it demolished, and then they spent 2 years in a not-so-nice, friendly place, although they made it work. It was awesome. And I thank you for that, and the teachers and administrators down at Central, where we had floods, and squirrels and bats and all kinds of things down there. So now you get to graduate from this fantastic facility. So we invited Nate Grant to speak to the section.
Three years ago, the class of 2020 walked into the doors of Reading High School for the first time and experienced that coming-of-age feeling attained by starting high school. As a part of the last freshman class to attend the old Reading High School, which stood in this very place, but in a very different building, I knew the ensuing years would be bittersweet. The hallways of the old building at 810 East Columbia Avenue were the embodiment of what we had come to know as Reading Community Schools. Those hallways had welcomed many of our grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, and cousins each day of their high school careers. Those hallways were graced by the footsteps of state champions, countless academics, and even an Olympic gold medalist. But in November of 2015, the citizens of Reading decided that those hallways, after over 50 years, had served their purpose. In their place, a new building and a grand future would be constructed. Before the Reading community could witness students and staff joyfully entering their new pre-K through 12 home, it is no secret we first faced tribulations. The 2-year stint at the transitional high school on Bonnell was no luxury. Just ask anyone who had the opportunity to bake in an Algebra 2 classroom with no air conditioning. Or better yet, recount the flood days that interjected the flow of the school year. Although these eccentricities of the transitional building had their drawbacks, they simultaneously allowed Reading schools to display true Reading grit. For 2 years, we made do in a building that was over 100 years old, and that is unquestionably something to admire. The community, administration, faculty, my peers and I dealt with an interesting environment, to say the least, but we are all the better for it. An entire community enthusiastically listened for news on construction progress. Likewise, it anxiously waited to begin the district's next chapter. Now, in this building, imagine what awaits us. On that note, take a look around. Take in everything that is around you. Examine closely each feature and thank God for this tremendous asset. As we dedicate our state-of-the-art educational facility, recognize that we stand today as a part of history. Who knows when Reading residents will again be able to set foot in a brand new school. But in the here and now, let us appreciate what surrounds us. To fully capture what this building means for the future of public education in Reading is beyond words. I can assure to all community members that their investment into the students of Reading schools was worth it, and it will not go to waste. Already, the staff and students are seizing the opportunities presented to us by our new building. From the gymnasium, which has and will host portions of OHSAA-sponsored tournaments, to the extended learning areas, which are the envy of other schools, each piece of this school is designed to ensure Reading graduates excel in the ever-changing professional world. Today we acknowledge the past and all its tradition, but also look excitedly into the future. Reading has always been comprised of high-achieving students and exemplary faculty, and now we have the facilities to match. I am honored to stand before you today on this momentous occasion, and on behalf of students, I want to thank anyone who had a hand in making our Reading Community Schools campus possible. Again, thank you.
Thank you, Nate. Next we have Mr. Mark Griffin, a teacher who has a long history of Reading, and he's going to talk to you about the teacher's perspective.
A little bit higher there. Thank you.
17 years ago, that's always a good way to start off a speech. The year was 1802. Ohio was just becoming the 17th state, and a log cabin became the first school of Reading. I wondered if they were as excited to be in the new school back then. Ooh, look at the freshly hewn logs. Is that cedar? Did you see the outhouse out back? It's a two-seater. Nice. Have you checked out the water bottle filling station? Very convenient. Traffic was not a problem, with plenty of buggy parking by the hitching post out front. And I wonder what material the first teacher covered and how it was different from today. I mean, high school chemistry only had 23 elements to learn. There were only 7 known planets at that time, and American history was probably only a 2-week class. Name the presidents, in order. George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson. Okay, we're done. Abraham Lincoln was not even born, and Alexander Hamilton was still alive and not a Broadway musical. You never heard students complain about their piece of slate and chalk not working, and have you tried to turn it off and turn it back on again? They never needed a Wi-Fi password. Nobody Googled anything, and I often wonder, who had student ID number 000001. I now teach science classes, but for much of my teaching experience, I have taught American history. I love the past and the stories that remain to tell us how things used to be, what we must not forget. I also consider myself a student of architecture and have frequently taught students the idea of a building being a kind of walk-through art form, a form designed for a specific function, and in the case of a school, providing a place for the next generations of students to learn the knowledge and skills for the world in which they would grow up and live. We are now gathered for a dedication ceremony in the newest of many buildings that have been home to the students of our community. The last time there was a new building in Reading would be almost 70 years ago, and the seniors that graduated that first year would now be almost 90 years old. Their teachers would be much older. Last year I found a box of old blueprints and architects' drawings of the former Reading schools, and I have looked over them carefully and tried to imagine what the schools used to look like when they were new and everyone was excited to see them. Hilltop has witnessed many changes since it first opened, with two major additions, with a new wing, with a library, an art room, and a science lab, and the classrooms of the pod that were open without walls, reflecting the latest learning styles of the day. Seems like what goes around comes around. We're opening up garage doors now, but still using some of the same ideas that work. 3 years ago, we thought Central Elementary / middle / high school was celebrating its 100th anniversary since the cornerstone said 1916 out front. Only then did we discover it was the first addition of many onto a much older existing building, at least 25 years old. A newer wing was added to the east end of the school along Bonnell Avenue, and the gym addition was added several years after that. Many former Reading students have stopped into those buildings over the last few years to take one more look at the hallways and the classrooms, the cafeteria and the gymnasiums they fondly remember. Many have also shared stories of the past and how the schools have changed over the years. When this addition was added, and when the cafeteria used to be a wood shop, or the rooms above the office held typing classes, when the locker rooms used to be a stage and plays were performed. We have already said goodbye to one of those former buildings, and many in Reading still remember fondly the old high school building that used to sit on this very piece of land where we are today. It came down to make way for the next generation of schools, and demolition on the second, Central School, has begun this week. As a community, we do not forget where we have come from. We remember the history of past schools, even in the current building. The arches of the original doors of Central School, later changed to the stained glass windows, are reflected in the curved arches over the entrance to our new building, and even to the windows right now behind you. The community has always been proud of the schools where their children learn, and the tradition continues to this day. The students who are gathered here with us will one day tell stories of how they were here at this ceremony, and how the building will change as they get older and the years go by. They may be the first to perform with the choir or the band this year. They may be the first to score a basket this upcoming season, or even be the first of a brand new play this spring on the stage. They can actually say, when we started in this school, we didn't even have grass. We just had dirt. That will make their kids think they're really old when they say that. I am actually glad that students have had the opportunity to witness the final stages of construction of their new school, and to watch as the finishing touches are completed. They have seen the time, the effort, and just plain hard work that it takes to make this building all that it promises to be for them and for generations of Reading school children for years to come. 10 years ago, Reading Middle School was formed with teachers from Hilltop, Central, and the old junior high school. We had to learn to form a new school and work with other teachers, first from Central Elementary and later the high school. It was a preview of what was to come for the entire district this year. I was asked at that time if a new building made me a better teacher. And I rather arrogantly replied, heck, I could teach in a cave if I had to. And then I drifted off thinking about how cool it would actually be to teach in a cave. I mean, there was erosion and layers of geology, and, well, anyway, the people, they gave me strange looks, so I continued. But a new school building shows the students of this community that they are valued and they are worthy of the best building possible. With this new school building, the people who sit down here on the floor, the school board members, the superintendent, principals, teachers, and staff have all shown the children of Reading that they are valued and that they are worthy of the best. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark. Before we do the ribbon cutting ceremony, I want to add my thanks to everybody on the floor for giving us this facility, but also I want to recognize former board members, Lisa Bemis and Mrs. Solomon, and also former Treasurer Carrie Furnace, because back in the day, 4 or 5 years ago, they went out on a limb to actually vote to do this and to get funding from OFCC and start the whole process, design process, which a lot of people thought this would never happen. A lot of people said this building would never be built. So I want to thank them because they took a leap of faith and they put their names out there. They took a big risk by voting actually to even do this project. They could have stand pat, and they didn't. So I appreciate that. All right, our ribbon cutting ceremony is symbolic, and now we have one student from each grade level, and kindergartner and senior cutting the ribbon. Seniors, as I said before, you've been in the old high school and you're the first graduating class from this building. And the kindergartner, because the kindergartners represent the first class, the first group of students that actually go kindergarten through high school in this district. So I'd like to introduce them, and as I do, please go to the ribbon. They are Nora Latier, kindergarten, Isabel Perry, first grade, Nikolai Awal, second grade, Bella Richards, third grade, Miguel Garcia Gonzalez, fourth grade, Sophia Jones, fifth grade, Jalen Brandt, sixth grade, Philip Nolan, seventh, Alexa Massey, eighth, Grace Longworth, ninth, Caitlin Alton, 10th grade, Emily Turner, 11th grade, Caitlin Reichling, 12th grade, and Javon Colbert, 12th grade. Before we do the ribbon cutting ceremony, we have a performance from our choir.
Others around you.
The ribbon cutting, two people I have to thank, and I saved this for last. Meg Kosacik and Kim Blair for putting together this program, and not only that, helping on a daily basis run the school district, so I greatly appreciate them and am indebted to them. So now, ribbon cutting, take your scissors, seniors and kindergartner, and have at it.
3, 2, 1.